If you are an e-commerce brand doing over 100K a month and you are wondering how you should tackle your email marketing in 2026, I'm going to be honest with you. There is a lot of bullshit predictions out there right now about email marketing that just won't ever be true. And I would know this because I've worked with over 50 e-commerce brands and I've generated them over $25 million through done-for-you email marketing. So I've seen what works, what's complete garbage, and most importantly, what's going to crush it in 2026. So in this video, I'm going to break it down step by step so you can take an advantage of that, implement it, and gain and in the market share. If you're an e-commerce brand doing over 100K a month and you're wondering how you should tackle your email marketing in 2026, I'm going to be honest with you. There is a lot of bullshit predictions out there right now about email marketing that just won't ever be true. And I would know this because I've worked with over 50 brands and I've generated them over $25 million through done-for-you email marketing. So I've seen what works, what's complete garbage, and most importantly, what's going to crush it in 2026. So in this video, I'm going to break it down step by step so you can implement all of these strategies and gain an edge in the market. So let's get right into it. The first thing I wanted to cover is, the most important metric that most of the brands are focusing on. Because most of the brands, the main metric they are going to be focusing on is going to be revenue. And I mean, that's right, because ultimately revenue is what grows your business. But the problem of that is a lot of brands are focusing on email attributed revenue. And don't get me wrong, because I often post screenshots about it as well. And you're gonna see brands doing 40% from email, 50% from email, 60% from email. But then if you actually dive into this brand, you're gonna see that they're struggling to grow, like month over month, which is a big problem. And the reason behind it is that they're focusing on attributed revenue and not on generated revenue. Okay, so I know that it can be a little bit confusing, but I've audited hundreds of accounts at this point, and I've seen cases where the attribution window would be 30 days. They wouldn't be excluding false opens or clicks, which is a big problem, especially after iOS updates and mail privacy open. And then they would also be counting in subscription revenue. So all of that is pretty much creating like a false narrative that, okay, we're making so much money from email, so it has to be our top performing channel. But in reality, where I would tune down the attribution window, I would exclude false opens and clicks, and then I would exclude subscription revenue by creating a custom metric, it would turn out that email is actually driving like 10% of the revenue, okay? Which again, I'm not gonna be, saying whether that's a lot, whether it's, it should be higher or lower, because every single brand is different. Again, that's something to remember as well, like as a side note, because we've got clients doing 40% from email, so it's possible, but we've also got clients doing 15 or 20% from email, and for them, it's already huge because they're doing like 8 figures a year, okay? So again, based on the brand size, the percentage can be different, but the one thing you need to remember is that you need to be focusing on revenue generated. Okay, so if whether you're doing it yourself, you have an internal team or agency managing that, you need to make sure that the data you're seeing in your Klaviyo is actually reliable. And again, you can also, go one step further, use tools like Triple Whale or Google Analytics, but none of them are gonna be as accurate as you would like them to be. There's always gonna be cross attribution between Facebook, Google, Klaviyo, and SMS marketing platform if you're using anything outside of Klaviyo. So what you need to focus on is make sure that you have low attribution window. I would recommend 5 days at maximum, which is Klaviyo's default. But if you want to be a bit more aggressive, you can go with like 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days maximum. You also want to exclude bot clicks and like false opens. And most importantly, if you run a subscription-based brand, you need to exclude all of the subscriptions. So you could do it by creating a new custom metric inside of your Klaviyo account and excluding all of the subscription revenue, because this way, let's say you send an email on Friday, you have an attribution window of 15 days or like 30 days after someone opens an email. They falsely open that email because you're not excluding false opens, and their recurring subscription revenue or order, let's say you're selling coffee, kicks in 7 days after you send an email. What's gonna happen is they open this email on Friday, they have recurring subscription or recurring order next Friday, and if this order kicks in, the revenue is gonna get attributed to your campaign or flow or whatever email. So this is a huge mistake, as you can see, because again, it just creates a false narrative that, okay, we are having so much revenue coming in from Klaviyo or from email, but in reality, it can be super, super low. So again, make sure that you're excluding all of the false metrics, like all of the false opens, false clicks, and then subscription revenue as well. Again, there's nothing wrong with subscription revenue, but just make sure that whenever you're reading data, you're excluding that, because other than that, it's just gonna be, false numbers inflated, and that's not the case, because you just want to be focusing on revenue generated and not revenue attributed. Another trend that is becoming more and more important is gonna be deliverability. So it's been the case since forever that if you want to get good results, you have to land your emails in the primary tab or in promotions. Like, you just can't go to spam ever. And that is true, and it's always gonna be true. But the problem of that is that getting into the primary tab is getting harder and harder. Right now, there's also like a wave of bots which are creating huge bounce rates across your abandoned checkout flow, like 33%. And these bots are gonna be, a daily thing. Like, it's gonna be more common because of the AI automations and all of the tools available, that your competitor can take one of these tools, blast your email list with false profiles, and increase your bounce rate from like 1% or below 1% to 33%. And I'm saying this from experience because we've had like multiple clients in the past few months has this exact case. I've also emailed my list, which by the way, you can sign up below in the video description, but I've emailed my list a few times about this problem, and I've had lots of people say like, yes, this is exactly what we're going through. So again, deliverability is gonna get harder and harder, and this is why you need to be focusing on making sure that you never ever go to spam folder, okay? So outside of Klaviyo analytics and dashboards and whatnot, you want to be tracking Google Post Master Tools, GMAS, and then Glockups. These three tools are all you need to track your deliverability, see how you can fix it, and then make sure that your domain reputation is as high as it can be. Because again, if you're not gonna take care of this right now, it's gonna get way harder in the future, and then getting out of the spam folder is also gonna get harder. Another thing I wanted to talk about is gonna be AI. Okay, AI is great, don't get me wrong, I love AI, it's really helpful, but a lot of brands are using AI the wrong way. Most brands are using AI for copy or design, and I mean, it's cool. We also use help of AI, or like we use AI to help us with the copy or designs in some cases, for example, to create, very nice creative images. But the problem is that these brands are basing their copy only on AI. So what's happening right now is that all of those emails seem to be the same. Like, if you look at the copy and designs, they all seem to be super similar. And it's not about the structure of the email, because, if multiple brands follow a specific visual hierarchy, that's actually good because that's how it should be. But again, if you have the same exact copy as 10 different brands in 10 different niches, then something is wrong. So again, using AI for copy is fine, but you should be using it for research. For example, one of the things we're doing right now is taking all of the customer reviews from the website, plugging them into AI and asking like, okay, what are the most things that people mention? Like, let's give me top 3 reasons why someone mentioned that they bought our product. And then this is giving us, pretty much like a pretty in-depth research, because we know like, okay, if we have 5,000 reviews and 1/3 of them mentions one problem, 1/3 mentions the other problem, and 1/3 mentions the third problem, then we have 3 main problems that we can put in, plug into our campaigns, and focus all of them around these problems. And that's exactly what we're doing. Just again, analyzing all of the reviews instead of doing it manually and seeing how many people entered keyword better sleep. We're putting in all of the reviews through AI and then getting the best angles that, just people mentioned in your reviews, because that's how you do research. But again, this is how you should be using AI, not in a way that like, okay, write me an email about, selling a sleep supplement, because this is the wrong way to do it. If you keep doing that, people or your subscribers are gonna keep opening those AI written emails, and they're gonna spot a pattern, and it's gonna be way harder for you to stand out if you're using the same exact copy as everyone else. So again, AI is great for research, for predictive analytics. Right now, Klaviyo is rolling out cross-sell, which is gonna be super helpful and is already working fairly well, where you have predictive analytics of like, okay, what are the top orders or like top products people buy when they initially purchase product X, and they're making those cross-sells using AI based on the average send time or like average consumption time, what products are they buying. So this is the right way to use AI. Instead of making ChatGPT write all of your emails and then design them as well, make sure that you use it for customer research. You can use it to help you write the copy, but make sure that the copy is super personalized, because trust me, if everyone follows the path of using AI for copy, the brands that don't do it will stand out. Because people aren't stupid. Like, over time, people are gonna notice that every single email says the exact same thing. The copy feels pretty much robotic as well, and that's going to kill your brand. So again, if you want to stand out, use AI the right way, which is instead of using it for writing emails, use it for research, use it for predictive analytics or cross-sells or anything like that, but don't use it for writing emails that you copy and paste in your Klaviyo account, because that's gonna kill your brand and kill your revenue. Another important trend is that low volume campaigns are not going to cut through. So in general, again, I'm talking to dozens of brands every single month. Most of them tend to email their list 4 times a month. We have clients where we email their list 4 times a week. For some of them, it's even 6 to 7 times a week. And if you think about it, like if someone emails you 6 times a week, you're creating this, relationship with them. Like even you don't know them personally, you're being like, okay, I know how this brand makes their products. I know I've seen their before and afters. I know the founder because he's been emailing me on a weekly basis for months in the past, so I know something about the brand. Whereas on the other hand, you have a brand that sends 4 emails a month and only includes discount, like hey, 10% of this, 10% of that. Now from the consumer standpoint, if you think about it, like which brand are you going to choose? Okay, and I think that the answer is simple, but yeah, just sending 4 times a week is sort of 4 times a month is not enough. Even I would say go as far as saying that emailing your email list 2 times a week is not enough as well. Let's just be honest, like we're living in the age of internet, anyone can access the same information that you can. So it's becoming more and more popular that, okay, if you want to make money from emails, you need to send more emails. All right. So right now, instead of you competing with brands that don't send emails at all, you'll be competing with brands that send emails once a week. Okay. Twice a week, which is decent, but the bare minimum I would recommend is 3 to 4 times a week. That's absolute minimum, and ideally you want to be emailing them 4 times a week with different segments using both plain text and design-based formats, because other than that, you're just gonna not make it through. Like if you're emailing your list once per week and you have a competitor that sells the same solution as you and they're emailing their list 4 times a week, they are going to win more customers than you. It's just as simple as that, because those customers or like subscribers know more about their brand, know more about the product, about the founder, and the whole relationship is just getting more tighter because they feel closer to that brand just because of how often they're seeing them in the inbox. Now, last but not least, I wanted to talk about flows, because flows are something that a lot of brands set, forget, and never check back. And this is a huge mistake because in general, email flows are one of the best investments your e-com brand can make. Because yes, you can set them up and they can keep running for months or even years to come. But right now we're seeing that if you actually go ahead and take it one step further and test your flows even once per month or once every 3 months, you can get so much more ahead of the competition that you probably wouldn't believe it. But in some cases, we are running a simple test where, let's say, we just switch up subject line with preview text and our welcome email generates twice as much revenue. Okay, so just think about it. One test can take you a few minutes every single month to set up, but you will be making 2x more revenue the next month after you finish the test. And this is huge because again, you can set up these flows and that's fine. It's better to have the flows that are, done in general than not having flows at all. But the way that you maximize your revenue, which is exactly what we're talking about this video, is by by taking it a step further and optimizing these flows. You can also take it even further and personalize them a bit more, but not in a way that you think that you can just include the subscriber's name, and that's personalization. I'm talking about personalizing the flows based on the products someone was seeing. So of course, if you're selling 400 SKUs, it will be pretty hard for you to build out a specific path for every single product. But if you're selling like 3 to 5 products, maybe even 2, stuff like that, below 10 in general, you should be creating product specific flows. And that's exactly how you optimize your flows, because again, you can be testing copy, you can be testing offers, and these are going to move the needle. But if you create product specific flows, they're gonna do way better. Like we've got one client who we've done it for, and we've taken we had a general flow for all of the products, and then we had a flow for a specific product, only one of them, because it was their bestseller. The results were crazy because we pretty much 2x'd the click rate and then revenue as well, only by focusing on their bestsellers. So again, if you already have your flows done and you want to optimize them, you can run tests like time delays, subject lines, but most importantly, what's gonna drive more increase in the revenue is gonna be creating flows or emails tailored around specific bestsellers. You can choose like 1, 2, or 3 of them and create your flows one by one and then make split for all of them. And this is how you'll make it, and you will make more revenue than your competitors next year. So look, having worked with pretty much every type of DTC brand at this point, those are my honest thoughts about what's actually going to work for email marketing in 2026. This video covered the high level stuff, so I hope that you've learned anything that you can about implementing it for your e-com brand and scaling your backend revenue. I've also, these are the things that I'm actually doing for our clients, so you can go ahead, take and apply them for your brand, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna crush it in 2026. Obviously, there's way more to it, like our exact BCA framework that we use on a daily basis, specific email templates, the visual hierarchy, the technical setup checklist, stuff that I couldn't just cover in one video. So if you want the full system and you're doing at least 100K monthly revenue, click the first link below this video to book a free strategy session with me, where I'm going to see if we can implement the exact same strategies and framework for your e-com brand. Also, make sure to join my free newsletter, where I'm gonna be sending you weekly value-based emails. Sometimes I email my list 3 times a week, just sharing actually what's working right now at this very moment. So make sure you join it, it's completely free. But yeah, other than that, I will see you in the next one, and thanks for watching. Cheers!